Kenzie. Welcome to Live from Bed.
Thank you.
When did the rebrand Kenzie happen?
Oh, wow. I think the rebrand Kenzie happened a long time ago.
You were always called Kenzie,
Yeah.
by your friends and family.
Yeah, I was called Mackenzie for a while when I was younger, and I hated it so much just because it's a very formal, and not that the name isn't great because I love it, but it's just a very formal name. And so I think when I was like around 10 or 11, I changed my Instagram to Kenzie, and I was like, all right, this is it.
I love that for you. No, because Jade is pretty formal. It's pretty serious, but I have nowhere to go. Like, I can just thank you. I can make it longer.
Right.
But Kenzie is so cute. Like, that's a cute.
Thank you.
There's a lot of cute nicknames in Mackenzie.
Well, now I'm like, Kenzie feels like my real name, so I'm trying to get everyone to call me something different because I'm like,
what's next?
What? I need another nickname, like for my friends, because all they call me is
That's
Kenzie.
true.
Yeah.
Like when someone calls you Kenzie in public, are you like, oh, you know me? And then you're like, oh, no, you don't.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, probably happens all the time. So I loved one of your most recent Instagram posts promoting your album, of course, which we'll get into.
Yes.
But was talking about like overthinking and overanalyzing every relationship, every friendship. What would you say you're overthinking right now?
Oh my gosh. I think at the moment, it's like I'm traveling so much and there's a lot of traveling coming up and I'm like, is my dog okay? Is my house okay? Like, I think that's what I'm mainly overthinking right now because my friendships right now are so awesome.
Yeah.
And like my family's awesome. So I think it's just like the small little things that I don't really need to worry about.
I totally relate to that because it's like when everything's going well, ideally I'd have a break from worrying about everything.
Totally.
No, we'll find something new. My recent thing has been not flying. It's actually not even getting on the plane. It's leaving my house, leaving my dog, packing, like making sure I have everything I need.
But I totally get that. Like traveling is a stressful thing.
Do you have to do it like a shit ton for work?
I've just been doing it a lot recently for like promoting music and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was just in London and New York in the span of like 5 days, which was like a lot for me. I mean, obviously it was awesome, but I was like, I don't even know what time it is. I don't know where I am. Like, this is a lot.
Yeah, like I get homesick.
Yeah, I get homesick really easily.
Before I even leave,
Same.
I like get this pit in my stomach. Like I can't relax. I hate that feeling.
I feel that.
But we were just talking before we hopped on. We were saying that last time I was in an airport was an international flight and I got lit because, as you guys know, it's my favorite place to drink is on an airplane. And I was alone in a hallway at like when we were deplaning with Abby Miller. I heard that from the back of I heard this little bzzz from like a motorized wheelchair, and I turn around and suddenly everyone else disappeared but me and Abby.
That's crazy.
And I was like so terrified. But I'm so excited to talk to you because I loved Dance Moms, and you're probably like so fucking sick of people saying that.
No, I mean, I it's where I came from, so it's so fun to talk about.
Living on the dance floor.
Living on the dance floor, always and forever.
For life.
For life.
Like, how many years were you on that show?
I was on it from when I was 6 to when I was 12. The really important parts of your life.
Oh,
I feel like.
yeah. Do you still remember any of the routines?
I remember all of my dance routines. Yeah, I have it's really strange because I would forget a lot of my solos on the show. Yeah. I think I just was like so unmotivated because I just wanted to do it for fun.
I know, you really were just trying to have a good time.
But like, I remember all of them. I just recently started watching the episodes because I've never seen it. So I've like been going back and I'm like, I know this dance. Yeah.
What's the weirdest realization that you, as with adult eyes, are looking at this now? Like, what's the weirdest thing that you've seen?
I think just like how weird the whole thing was. Because like my best friend was, I mean, I was obviously friends with all the girls, but like one of my closest friends was like the lighting guy on the show.
No way.
And like they would play with me as a kid, like all the cast and crew members. I think that was like the weirdest thing for me was like, oh, I really didn't have a normal childhood.
Right.
But I mean, I'm here because of it. So it is, I appreciate it.
No, is there something about reality TV you feel like people still don't get? You guys do what was it called? When they would rank you?
Oh.
What was that called?
Oh, the pyramid.
The pyramid. Oh my God, how could I forget?
I mean, that was never, like, we never did that before the show.
Okay, so that was like for the show.
Yeah.
And would you have to do like several takes of that?
We would sit in pyramid for like 2 hours.
Shit.
It was insane because the moms would fight. Someone would leave. Someone would come back. Like, it was just so chaotic. But I mean, I will never do reality TV again, honestly. But I will say a lot of it was real. And then there were obviously some parts that were like amplified
Right.
by the moms.
But like you didn't have a choice in the matter, right? Like you were on this show.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, was there ever a part of you that felt animosity or anger for like having to do that? Or was it always a positive experience?
Well, originally we thought the show was supposed to be a documentary. So that's what we were there for. And then it turned into this thing because I think the first day of shooting, some moms were fighting and they were like, okay, this is it.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I think when I was younger, when I left the show, I was really upset because I was like, I really had no childhood, and like all of my friends are just my dance friends. And like when I left, I was like, I don't have anyone. Like it was really hard for me. And just being like on the internet so young. I mean, I had an Instagram when I was 8 years old because that's when like they didn't have an age limit.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
So like at 8 years old, were you aware that you were being perceived? Were there trolls?
Yeah, I think I didn't really realize it until I was around like 10 or 11 when I was, because when you're like 8, you're posting like the dumbest stuff
Totally.
on Instagram. But when I was growing up, you know, I was growing up like every other teenager, but it was like online. So if I did like one wrong thing, it was like the end of the world, which was really hard for me because I wanted to be a good role model to everyone because I pride myself in being, you know, a good person. And so that was like the most stressful thing for me. I think I like deleted Instagram like a bunch of times because I was like, I can't handle it.
No,
Yeah.
of course. And like I feel like at that age, people on the internet, because they don't know you, because they're watching you, they see you as, I don't know, they have some feeling of like ownership over
Yeah.
you. So I feel like they treat you kind of as an adult. You know, they're like, why'd you mess up that routine? And you're like, I'm 8. Or like,
Right.
why did I say this? You're like, I don't know.
Right.
But I have a niece who is turning 8. And I think about this a lot, like just in the context of like, when was the first time that you were aware of yourself physically? Because I think you go through so much of your childhood, like until for me, I was like maybe 7 or 8 without really thinking of yourself physically at all. You
Right.
don't like, you see a mirror, you're like, great, cool, I look amazing. Or like, you just are not self-conscious in a physical way.
Right.
And I remember little things. I remember a boy saying to me like, oh, you have hair on your arms. I don't have that much hair on my arms. It's benign, you know, 'cause
Right.
it's just kids pointing out to each other. When do you feel like you first became physically conscious?
Ooh, I mean, the dance world specifically is so toxic. I think when I was 6 years old, my dance teacher told me to suck in my gut. And that was like the hardest thing for me. And it carried on because like now that's like the one thing I'm like the most self-conscious about.
Of course.
But yeah, I think just like being a dancer and also like a ballerina, you have to be skinny or you're not qualified, or, you know, there's all these things that have this stigma around dance, which sucks because it's like dance is just supposed to be fun.
You were that person that was like, aren't we supposed to be having a good
Right.
time?
I literally quit dance for a day to go play soccer because I was like, what is this? And then my friends like begged me to come back.
Right.
And I'm so glad I did it. But I was like, I really just want to have fun with my friends. The only reason why I'm here is to dance with my friends.
Completely.
Yeah.
Like when you look back, if your daughter, let's say, wanted to sign up for a show like that, would you ever do it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Why do
not.
you think?
It's a lot of work. So we had Sundays off, and then like I missed all of school. I got kicked out of school because
way.
we missed so many days. It was just a lot of work, and it's a lot of pressure. You just feel like shit about yourself like half of the time.
Right. And you're competing like
Yeah.
every week. Oh, God.
So
damn.
no, I don't think but I also like became a really tough-skinned person.
I bet.
And I feel like I can really do anything now because of that. So it's a blessing in disguise.
Does your mom feel guilt ever?
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's so hard just in hindsight. But like in her mind, she was doing what was best for
Oh,
you guys and your
absolutely.
family.
Absolutely. I mean, my mom is like awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't hold any like
That's
grudges
so
towards
nice.
her. Yeah.
And she was a single mom at the time, or like you got your stepfather came in the picture when?
Yeah. My parents got divorced when I was 4.
Okay.
I think. And yeah, my stepdad came into my life when I was like 7 or 6.
Wow.
So he was basically a part of the whole thing, which was awesome.
Did you have other siblings at home that weren't you or Maddie?
I am one of 9.
Okay, so you're like
Half
me.
and
We have a
step.
big blended.
Big fam.
Yeah. The same thing.
Yeah.
But was there anyone from like living in your house, like any other sibling, or just the two of you?
When we were younger, we lived with our 2 half brothers.
Okay.
With my dad, and then they moved out, so they didn't live with us. But we're like obviously still close to them.
Isn't it crazy, like that blended family
So
culture?
weird.
Do they all live here?
No, they all live in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no way. Do you go back?
I go back for Christmas, and I like see most of them.
Are you like a local celebrity there? Like, or is everyone...
No, I think everyone's just because we like. My stepdad still lives there. My mom goes there all the time, and it's a very small town where I live. So it's very normal. Like I see kids from my school, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" Like it's yeah.
That's crazy. That would be so trippy for me because it's kind of like seeing what your life could have been had you not taken this path.
Oh my God, I think I would go crazy.
You're like, I don't want that for me.
No hate to the people in Pittsburgh, but it's just like Pittsburgh is
totally
an interesting place for
when
sure.
you feel like when you grow up working together, you're kind of like, okay, let me just like be my own person. Let me just like, did you go through that or were you always connected to your family?
Yeah, I mean, when we moved to LA specifically, since we were like our only people other than like the girls on the show, we were with each other 24/7. And my sister and I swear, wanted to rip each other's necks off.
Of course.
Like we shared a room for, I think, a few years. And it was like the most, oh my, like I think about it and like we would grind our teeth at each other. Like it was the worst time ever. And then when she moved out, when she was 18, it was like, oh, I actually miss her and like she's great. And then we started hanging out as friends. But my mom and I have always, like, we've always had a great relationship with my mom. Of course, like, she's a mom and she has to parent us and we would get annoyed, but she's top tier for sure. She's awesome.
She sounds like, I mean, from what I've seen on TV, she seems amazing. But yeah, like we talked a little earlier about like how being the younger sister, you always wanted to hang out with your older sister. You wanted to be like your older sister. And then when you move out, when you don't no longer live in the same house, when you're no longer pitted against each other, you're like homies now, but now the older sister is always the one that comes and knocking. Like my sister always calls me and I'm like, you want to, like, what about when we were 7 and 11 and you locked me out of your room or you started shaving your legs and we didn't speak for 2 weeks?
Sure.
You know, like for sure. It's a dynamic switch.
Yeah, she's obsessed with me. She like tries to hug me like and kiss me and I'm like, whoa there. Yeah. This is too much.
Isn't that weird? That is like such a classic sister relationship.
I know.
What's your sharing clothes policy? What are the rules there? Who's more generous?
Ooh. Okay, well, when we were younger, it was like we would sneak into each other's room.
Because you're 22 months apart, right? You said?
Yeah, we're 20 months apart.
Or 20 months, okay.
No, same thing.
So that's two less months. But that's like really. So you guys were the same size.
Same size, same everything. So we would like sneak into each other's rooms while one of us were sleeping and steal each other's clothes. Like I remember I came home one day with all of her friends, I think all of my friends actually, and she was wearing my clothes like head to toe, and I literally stripped her in front of everyone. I was like, take that off. But now that we don't live together, she has the best closet and she's good at hair and she's good at everything. So like,
so is my sister.
Yeah. So I'm like, come over, get me ready, or I'll come over and you can get me ready. I will call her and be like, hey, do you have anything for me to wear? I have to go to this.
I did that yesterday.
And she'll show me on FaceTime. She'll put it in an Uber, ship it to my house, and then I have to like fold it, wash it and give it back, or else like it's hell. But we do it. It's very generous now. We'll do it, but we have to give it back the next day or it's like you're dead.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so there's boundaries. Yeah. Loving boundaries.
For sure.
Yeah. No, me and my sister the other day, we wanted to buy something that was like very expensive and we almost bought 2 of them. And then we were like, let's share it, which was the dumbest fucking idea. Crazy. Because now she's like, I need it. And I'm like, no, I need it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's horrible. We can't share shit. It's having an older sister or a sister in general that you get along with is like a cheat code in life.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, oh my God, I have this person that actually wants me to win. You know what I mean? Like even more than any friend ever could. You're like, oh, they want me to look my best. You know what I mean?
And she'll tell you if you don't look good in something.
Boy, will they tell you.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little harsh, but like I need it.
Me too.
Yeah.
My sister's like, you have dandruff. You have. I'm like, oh, great. Yep. Okay, sweet.
She's like, what are you wearing?
Yeah,
and I'm
you
like,
look horrible.
okay, cool.
No, and it's always like she tries to come from such a PC.
Yeah.
Like, what was that choice? Why did you want to wear that? And I'm like, I know you're reading me. Like, I know that this is completely insulting.
It's the best though.
No, it is the
I
best.
give it back just as hard though.
Me too.
I have to.
Me too. And she's like, I know when you're PMSing. And I'm like, don't forget it. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. So like from your dance mom's days to just growing up in the spotlight, I've heard you talk about like disassociating.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that is, first of all, what does that feel like for people that don't know what that feels like?
Ooh, for me, I mean, I grew up with really bad anxiety. I didn't realize what it was until I was around 13. I mean, when I was like dancing so much, I would get really stressed out and kind of feel like I was not present in the room. Like the first time I really experienced disassociating was when I was in the car and I was having like a panic attack. I think my first panic attack. And I fully just felt like extremely high and like out of body. Like it felt like I was tripping on something, which I've never tripped on anything, but I feel like that's what it would have felt like.
I have, and it does feel like that.
Oh, I'm too anxious to do any of that. But it's stopped for a while. But I have this weird trigger with the car, like being in the car. Like I've passed out like driving before.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you prefer to be a passenger or a driver? Like what's safer for you?
I like to drive my own car, but when someone else is in the car with me.
Totally.
I can drive when it's like, I can drive anywhere, but it's like sometimes I just like something happens where I'm like, okay, someone's going to have to pick me up on the side of the road because I can't do this right now.
It'll start like with a panic attack. You'll just get like really hot.
Yeah.
Is it usually triggered by something? I think that's something people don't understand about panic attacks.
Yeah. This is actually insane, but like my whole family and I were all really big hypochondriacs. Like my sister and I have both convinced each other like that I've had vertigo. I had a brain tumor. Our brains are so strong. It like is really freaky, which kind of led into like, I'm terrified to pass out. I've passed out one time. No, it's been more now. But like the first time I passed out, I was like, I never want to do that again.
Were you in front of other people?
Yeah, I was. And it just feels like you're not in control of your body. Like that's the one thing I hate most.
And then you don't trust your body.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what if this happens again when I'm out somewhere? What if it happens at a really inopportune time? Yeah.
And so then I would get my blood drawn and then it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna pass out, and I would pass out from that. And so that started being my coping mechanism where like I'd be driving and I would be thinking about something like stressful and I would just pass out because it was just like, I'm so scared right now that my body just wants to shut down.
So you think that originated through the show kind of, or just like your environment growing up? Were you more worried about not winning a competition, or was it because of the public perception?
I think it was more just the one person, my dance teacher at the time, like that's the one person that should want you to win the most.
Right.
And like tell you you're good enough and be encouraging. I think that's where a lot of like, even sports, I feel like teachers and coaches are very intimidating when it's like, you should be the one to lift me up.
And you're dealing with a child.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think just not being good enough is like the scariest thing for me in relationships as well. And like in friendships, like I go above and beyond for everyone because I don't want to ever feel like I'm not enough, which stems from my childhood.
No, of course. You want to feel like it's an abandonment issue. It's like you don't want someone to leave you.
Yes.
I feel like that in a lot of ways too. I spent a lot of my time just trying to mirror other people and be what they wanted me to be. And you get a lot of positive reinforcement from that, right? People love you. You know, they're like, oh, you're so easy to be around.
Totally.
And I'm like, oh, I bet, because I am doing backflips to like make sure you're comfortable.
Yep.
And it's such a weird thing because when you start to notice that about yourself, it's hard to untangle like what part of you is that way naturally, right? Like what part of you is actually friendly and outgoing, whatever, and what part of you is doing that to make sure that they don't leave you.
Yeah. I think I'm a little better about it now. I was just like an insane people pleaser growing up, and I still am.
Yeah.
I still am. Don't get me wrong. But I would like pay for all my friends' meals, and I would like, my mom would get so mad at me. She'd be like, Kenzie, like you're spending more on other people than you are on yourself.
I know.
But then it was like expected, where it's like I would go out with my friends and they would just wait for me to put my card down, and I'd be like, oh, got it. So like I've created this, like this is my fault.
Totally.
So But like, even with just like, I would get free things and I would give them to all my friends just to make them feel like I wanted it, but I would give it to them.
I have been there.
Yeah.
I have this painting, or not even a painting, it was a photograph that was like by this incredible photographer. And it was like of Bob Dylan.
Wow.
And I found out that someone that I worked with was a fan of his. And I gave this picture to him for his birthday. And I'm literally, like, to this day, I'm
You're
literally
pissed.
like, no, I'm so pissed. And I did it because I was like, I wanted to be liked and I didn't
Right.
care in that moment. And now I'm like, that's probably worth, who even knows? It's not even about that. It's about like what it was to me emotionally. But I would just abandon myself for everyone else. And similar to what you're saying, kind of what made me stop is how shitty I'd feel after. Because for a while, you kind of feel good after because you're getting a lot of positive reinforcement. People like you, whatever, they like being around you. And then all of a sudden, you're resentful of people for violating boundaries that you never set in the first place.
Totally.
And you're like, how dare you violate my boundaries?
But it's your fault.
And they're like, you have none.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, how did we get here?
Yeah.
No, that's so hard. Do you find that you and your sisters, not issues, but like traumas from the show or whatever, are they similar or are they very different?
I think they're very similar in a lot of ways.
It's nice to have someone to...
For sure. We both deal with anxiety, and it's just different because she's a perfectionist. So it like hits her so much harder than me. I deal with other things,
Right.
like
You're like, I got
anxious
my own
things.
shit.
Like, I don't even know. My brain is so weird.
Me too,
Like,
babe.
I don't even
Me
understand
too.
it, but yeah. But she's very like good with coping with things.
And you have each other, which is so nice to be like, this was insane. Having that person that you can just like, even just being like, wasn't mom so weird today? Like that is such a gift to just be able to like talk to someone else about that.
Oh yeah, we FaceTime each other. We like set up our phones and get ready and just FaceTime each other for
For like
hours and
3
just talk.
hours, totally. And like half the time you're just silent doing your own thing. I know. I'm always on the phone with my sister.
I love it.
It's so nice. It's so nice. But she can also fucking drive me
Oh.
insane. So when you first came off that show and you were in LA, did you feel like you needed to do the next thing? Like, were you like, fuck, I gotta find like what my next, you didn't want to dance anymore. Was that a lot of pressure to like find a new passion?
Honestly, for me, not really. Because like I said, like I'm kind of just like a go with the flow type of person.
Like, what sign are you?
I'm a Gemini.
Oh, I love Geminis. Okay, your birthday's coming up.
Yes.
Are you turning 20?
20.
Oh my God, let's
Yes.
go.
I know, I'm so excited. But yeah, growing up, like I never really stressed about anything like work related. We moved to LA because my sister was doing a lot of things with Sia at the time. And so I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll come. Like, I don't know. And I kind of just like, a lot of my friends ended up being kids in the industry because living here, I mean, that's really the only kids you're going to see unless you go to school.
Even there.
Yeah.
They're all,
No, it's true. Everyone's doing something, you know? And so it was kind of like, oh, I want to do this. And it was just fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like music just came kind of
For sure.
naturally. I guess that is kind of like it's a relative of dance. Like you're around music for so long.
Yeah. I also grew up like singing around the house, and I did vocal lessons when I was younger. Like that was just something I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to be like Hannah Montana.
Right. Me too.
I mean,
still
who
do.
doesn't? I know, right?
Hello.
And so I think it just worked out where I was like, this has been my dream forever.
That's so nice and such a blessing, because I feel like so many people spin out after like their big first project and they're like, you have all these eyes on you. I know this guy is snoring.
I just can't. I love him.
No, you have all these eyes on you and you're like, okay, I feel like I need to earn my keep. I need to be worthy still. I need to give them something to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I think now I'm in the best spot I can be in because I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I mean, even just like 3 years ago, I signed to my label and I was like, okay, now that I'm with a label, I have to, do all these things to make myself look worthy and show that I can sing, because coming from a reality TV show, people are always going to be like, okay, you're only singing because everyone else can sing. And it's like, no, I just really want to do this. Like, so a lot of people don't take you seriously. And so I think that was the main thing where it was like, I don't want everyone to just think that I suck. Like, I actually want to do this as a career and not just like for fun.
I think that's something people probably misunderstand, because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you were given this opportunity, you were given this audience, you were given whatever. And it's actually kind of the opposite in a way that, yes, you have this audience, but they're all looking at you like entertain me.
Yep.
Do something good. Like
It's true.
make my following you worthwhile.
It's true. And I think now at this point in my life, I'm just like, I make music for me.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't, like, I don't care if a song doesn't blow up. Like, that's not why I'm making music. I'm making music because I really enjoy it. And
But that's why I think why you're successful.
Thank
Because
you.
like you can hear that. Your songs are so relatable but they're true. It's not a show that you're putting on. It just feels like you're letting us all in on this deeply personal, you're growing up. And I'm so excited about this album. It's called Biting My Tongue.
Yes.
Right? So you've been working on it for a while.
For 2 years,
For
yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
Are you nervous about it coming out? Like, what does that feel like? Like that date, July 26th, is coming up. Like, what does that feel like?
Well, honestly, my album was supposed to come out like so long ago.
So now you're just like,
I'm
get
just
out.
like, wow, I can't even believe that it's actually happening. I don't think it's hit me yet. But I think the only thing that I'm like really nervous about is the songs are really authentic and they are all like true stories from my life. And there's songs that are about people in the album, and it's like very scary. Like I forget that, like, oh yeah, I can't just like write a song about someone and like not expect them to like text me or like that's the one thing I'm scared about because they're gonna know it's about them.
No, it's the fucking worst. I recorded an episode recently and I really was being as vague as humanly possible. But just at the end of the day, you're like, fuck, this isn't meant for you. This is meant for strangers.
Right.
And it's so frustrating because they will call you out and they'll be like, this was about me. And now you have to like work
Explain
it out. You're like, this
yourself.
is my art. This is
Right.
like, it's unnatural because it's like, you're not supposed to hear someone's like innermost thoughts about that experience.
For sure.
There's a lot of different songs about a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Who would you say you're most afraid of like that text the day after it comes out?
Oh wow. That's a hard one. I think one of my ex-best friends, that's like
That is the best answer.
the hardest. Yeah. It's harder than losing a relationship, So I'm nervous about, but I also am like, it's gonna be fine.
That's
okay.
so crazy that you're saying that because we talk about that so much on the show, and I feel like we just can't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
Losing a friend and like the friendship breakup and just how uncomfortable you're so afraid to run into them, or you just look at them online and you're like, I used to have front row seats to this show, and now I'm like outside the stadium and watching your life, watching your brother who I knew, or like all these people, and you're like, this is such a fucking trip and it's painful. You
So
miss them
painful.
so much, but also you know that you can't be friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Have most of your friendship breakups, or even this one in particular, is it the slow fizzle, or is it the like, you slept with my boyfriend, I hate you?
At least it's never been I slept with my boyfriend,
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah.
which is good. But I guess it depends. This one in particular, we were best friends since we were like 9, and I said I didn't like her boyfriend. So it's kind of that thing.
Oh my God. Don't
Which
tell me
I would
about it.
never, like, that is like the last thing I would ever do to someone because like that's, can be really tricky. But yeah, I was just like, I can't not, like, I have to.
So you like told her lovingly, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I was just like, he's not great.
Right. You're just honest about
Like,
it.
you're awesome and he's not. And I think she really took that to offense. And so it was just like fighting for weeks and weeks and weeks about it. And then it was just like done.
It's so awkward.
And it's like, whoa, I like feel like I lost a part of myself.
Totally.
Because we were like this. And so now it's like I have so many friends and like best friends that I love so much, but I'm like, no one gets me like she does.
Of course. Because when you're 9, 10, 11, like I have a best friend that I grew up with and we're no longer friends. And, I was thinking about our sticker collection the other day and I was like, this bitch is the only one that knows about our sticker collection. And there's no part of me, like, it's so sad because you do become different people. You do outgrow those friendships. And that's so hard because I think you also think that there's something wrong with you because you see other people who are able to keep these lifelong friendships from when they were babies or whatever. And you're like, was it me? Like, why couldn't we have worked that out?
Yeah, I think I'm like really scared to lose like friends. And I think that you probably get that too with the people pleaser thing.
Yeah.
Is like, I do so much for someone so they don't want to leave me because it's like, I can't do that. It's painful. I would rather break up with 7,000 boys than like lose a girl.
No, because it's so intimate. And now this person is a free agent roaming around wherever with all your fucking secrets.
With all your secrets. I think about that all the time. I'm like, this is terrifying.
No, this is terrifying. Because like the stuff that you tell your best friends, especially ones you've had since you were 9,
is like something that should never be talked about ever.
Oh God. And now they're just living out in the world and they have a treasure trove of your secrets.
Oh, it freaks me out.
It's so freaky. So if she texts you, that will be like oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not about like, it's not an invitation to like work things out.
No,
it's just like a snapshot that a lot of people can relate to.
For sure.
But I just think we need to normalize like these female friendship breakups, because I feel like you feel like you're broken. You feel like you're wrong. You feel like when people ask you about it, it's so awkward. Like, oh, are you still friends with this person? And you're like, no.
So awkward. Especially like you said, like being so close to someone's family as well.
Oh my God.
It is like the weirdest.
Oh, I just got a shiver down my spine.
It's
so fucking weird. Because you're right. Like your album, like we said, is really, really personal, which is why it's going to be, I mean, the songs that have already come out like are fucking amazing.
Thank you.
And I want to talk about one in particular because it is a deeply personal song, which is Anatomy. So Anatomy came out like last year sometime, right?
Yeah.
And it's about your relationship with your dad. So who you didn't really have a relationship with as a child, right?
No.
So your parents got divorced, and was there a custody thing? Like, did you spend any time with him?
I would see him like on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And occasionally when I was younger, but it was never like, I don't remember really.
Right.
I don't really remember anything from it. And my mom would tell me like he doesn't want to come see you. Because he had a whole new family and everything, which was like really difficult for me. Because I was such a daddy's girl when I was younger. Like I was obsessed with him. And I think that also has like a lot of fear with my friendships, like people leaving me and not being enough.
Right back down to
childhood. I think like that was really hard for me, and I didn't realize how hard it was for me until I went to therapy. Like I did therapy after I left the show, and like I never talked about it because it was like I would make jokes about it when I was a kid. I'd be like, well, don't have a dad, like it's whatever. And then like I remember my therapist, she was like my newer therapist at the time, and she was like, so how is your relationship with your dad? And I just started sobbing, and I was like, this is so weird. I've never cried about this in my life.
Because once you open the doors.
Therapy is a scary thing.
I know. No, it really is. And you're like, fuck, now I can't close this door.
Right.
I have to like confront it. And it's so hard because it does start to manifest itself in other parts of your life, right? Like our people pleasing, like the fear of abandonment can all be traced back to that.
Yeah.
But I think what's so interesting about you writing this song is that you have family members. And I think that's a hard part with any family and like any issue with any parent or other family member is you have to also navigate your family member's relationship with that person or that issue. Yeah. Has that been hard? Like, was it hard for your mom and sister to hear this song?
Oh, I was terrified for everyone to hear it. I mean, my sister and my mom I don't even think they said anything to me. I think they just like sobbed. And my mom felt like it was her fault, which it is absolutely not. But I think the scariest part for me was my half brothers listening to it, because we are so close with them, and like we see them every time we go home. They come visit us here all the time, and they're close with my dad because it's their dad,
right? And he lived with them, right?
Yeah. And so it was just like, and he sees them all the time. So it was like, I hope they don't think I'm this like bad person or like making up things or whatever. But I remember the younger one of the brothers, he's not my younger brother, but he's like 26. He was so supportive, and it was just like, okay, like I feel good. Yeah. I don't even think I talked about it with my older brother. He was just like, yeah, cool. Like, I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
But everyone was very, very supportive.
Well, I just like that lyric, "Why don't you miss me?" That just sticks out to me so much, because it's like, it's more about the stuff that's unsaid.
Yeah.
The stuff that you internalize as like a reason why you're not enough, especially as a child. Mm-hmm. You feel like, okay, if I were worthwhile, he would miss me. He'd want to, talk to me. And I feel like that is so painful. Every time he calls, do you still get excited when he calls? Or are you like, ugh? Or do you not know how to like navigate those calls?
I think, well, we actually don't talk at all anymore.
Has he heard the song?
Yes. Okay. We kind of rekindled our relationship after the song came out. And it was obviously very hard for him to hear, which obviously. But I used to get really happy when he would call me. And it would be also kind of scary because I was just like, this is so weird for me. And like he would call my sister and we would both call each other after and be like, why do you just want to cry? Like it would just be like a normal conversation and it would just be like, I just want to cry. Like this just feels so weird and like not normal. But yeah, I like fully cut off.
That really resonates with me because it's these phone calls that are about benign things. And you wish that you could just jump into the benign thing conversation about like, oh, this is what I'm up to. This is what I'm doing. But you can't because like there's something in you that's like protecting your inner child, yourself now, whatever. And it's like this struggle of you want to be able to have the small talk.
Yeah.
But like there's this giant elephant in the room of pain that if you're not going to address, I guess I'm not going to address. Yeah. And then it's just, you do feel like crying right after.
I'm like, I just want to get this over with. Right. And done with.
And like, like, okay, how long is this conversation? Okay, we can say we talked. Okay, goodbye. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
No, I think that's really real. First of all, I struggle with this myself. I'm always struggling whether it's my story or my sister's story or my mom's story. And I think like that's a really hard thing. Did you feel any guilt for being forthcoming about this when your sister hadn't been?
I did feel a little guilty talking about it just because I didn't want to upset my family, but of course his family. Like I just didn't want to make it this whole thing. And I even like almost pulled it from like coming out because I was just so nervous, especially for him to hear it. Like that is, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Even if you like wronged me, like I don't want to. It sucks, but
I know. I feel the same way.
But I think everyone was very, I mean, my sister was like, this is accurate. So I felt okay about it. I think if obviously they were like, hey, this doesn't feel right, like I would have been like, okay, you're right.
Yeah,
like,
take it
you're so right. That's not right.
Change my mind.
Yeah. But I actually, like, I'm glad I was the one to do it because my sister, even though she's my older sister, like, I would seriously fight anyone for her. Like, it's actually really crazy. I seriously think I would punch someone in the face if someone yelled at her.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
When my sister cries, I cry.
Yeah.
No one else, if like anyone else cries in the world, I'm like, no. I mean, of course I feel for them, but when she's happy, it's like this weird connection. I know.
Like, if one of her friends like wrongs her, I will literally text him a long message and be like, you're dead to me. Like, sorry.
Naturally.
But so I think like I was the one that had to talk about it because I was like, she can't do that. So.
Right. And it's like being okay with this imperfect snapshot of like how you feel right now,
Totally.
At 19 and like not having this person in your life and what that's like.
Yeah.
But has it been healing to have the public in that part of your life? Like have people come out with their own stories and related?
Yes, I'm actually so happy I put it out because everyone else was sharing their stories with me and also telling me that it's made them feel not alone and all these things. And I think it also made people understand that I'm still a normal person. Like I think that's what a lot of people think, that I'm just this celebrity that is, and I'm like, no, I'm a 19-year-old girl that like still is trying to figure out how to do the dishes and wash her clothes. Like I don't know anything about the world. And so I think it showing some vulnerability to people, they were like, oh, she's just a normal person and going through the same struggles that we are.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of crazy? You're like, no, I'm normal. But how committed people are to thinking that you're not. You're like...
Yeah. I mean, when I like first talked about how I had anxiety on the internet, I remember getting comments being like, you're privileged and you can't deal with that. And I was like, yes, I am very privileged and I do have a great life and I'm I get so much handed to me, which is so amazing. And I'm appreciative of all of it. But I also have really bad anxiety.
Right. And you're like probably even worse.
And it is on a larger scale. I would never take away someone else's, but it is like on a different scale than most people because it's like all over the internet. So.
Yeah, it always blows my mind because people will say that about this show all the time because it's like about like, relating and commiserating and all of that. And they're like, oh, how can you do that when you grew up the way you did or whatever? And I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like there's no connection between the inner world and the outer world.
No.
At the end of the day, like you still struggle with all of that stuff and people's like commitment to misunderstanding that is always shocking to me.
Well, everyone's experiences are also different.
Right.
I think that's where a lot of people they just forget that.
Totally. But the ex-boyfriend that's on the album, we're like, fuck him. Like, listen, enjoy that. Do you think he'll listen?
For sure.
Of course.
For sure.
Of course. Okay. I love that for us. I love that for us. Okay. We're going to play a little game.
Ooh.
And it's called Biting My Tongue.
Love.
So you can say, I'm going to bite my tongue, or you can answer the question.
Ooh, this is fun.
Okay. Number 1. If I could delete one thing off the internet, something from Dance Moms, any interview you've ever did, an embarrassing moment, it would be.
My sister and I were on Good Morning America or something.
Sorry, I'm pretty excited.
No, it's like really bad. And they asked us to do Fortnite dances on the news.
What do you mean?
I seriously still to this day don't understand.
And
we did it. And that's the one thing I would rather delete from the entire internet. Like my digital footprint is crazy. Having Instagram when you're 8 years old is like the most embarrassing
so
thing.
Scary.
When I date new people, I'm like, don't look me up.
Please
do not.
God, don't look me up.
It's the worst.
The Fortnite dance.
But really bad.
I'm crying. I'm like literally laughing so hard. That's fucking amazing. Okay. I am hardest on myself about
My body.
Yeah, me too.
Body
Totally.
dysmorphia.
Totally. Yes. Okay. If I could go back, I'm talking as you,
Yep.
and talk to Kenzie at 4, 5, or 6 years old, what would you say?
Ooh, I think don't take everything to heart.
Poor little baby.
I
You're
know.
so cute without your front teeth.
I know.
So cute.
Thank you.
Okay. The most unhealthy thing I did to cope with my last breakup.
Ooh, I'm probably biting my tongue on that.
I love it. Okay. A lesson in dating I had to learn the hard way.
I think that not everyone wants you for the good reasons.
You think everyone has the same intentions like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always give people the benefit of the doubt. And then after we break up, I'm like, wow, can't believe I did that.
Totally. I can't believe you found out that people were cheating on you on the internet.
Yeah, I found out through a YouTube video on one of them, which is this girl explaining the situation, and I was sitting right next to my boyfriend at the time.
Oh my Christ! What do you even do in that moment? You're just like goodbye.
I stayed with him,
of course,
because
naturally.
I am a dumbass. I really am. I stayed with him for a few months afterwards, and then I was like, wait, no, this is really
we all
stupid.
do that shit.
Yeah.
No, it's you're like actually I believe that YouTube video.
No, I was like, well, I think I DM'd the girl and asked for receipts, and she gave me receipts, and I was like, okay, now this is done.
No, I literally can't ignore.
I can't.
That's crazy. Okay, this was one that I swear to God we had in here before we even talked about this. A friendship breakup I still think about.
Yeah,
that one. Done.
That one.
My sister and I fight most about
I'm trying to think of what we fight about.
clothes.
Clothes, but we don't anymore. I think who's gonna drive to who.
Ooh, that is a big one in LA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My mom and I fight most about.
I think me getting more animals.
Ooh, how many do you have?
I have a cat and a dog,
Okay.
but I love animals more than people. So I want a pit bull. I want 3 cats. I think I'm gonna be a crazy cat lady at one point. It's stressing me out, but I'm okay with it.
Me too. No, if I could just ditch everything and just go live on a farm with dogs,
Right?
I absolutely would. I like them more than people too.
I have to do that in my life at some point.
And now that it's legal for us to buy our own animals, it's very dangerous. I don't know why I don't do it every day.
Right?
You're right. I know.
I can't believe I am allowed to go just adopt an animal.
At any moment.
At any moment. And that's why I always text my mom being like, I think I'm going to do this. She's like, don't you dare.
And she
I'm
reminds you. The puppy phase. You just got a house, right? So it's the puppy. That's the only thing holding me back right now is just that they'd pee and
Yeah.
which I really wouldn't care that much about.
See, but it's like
at
at the end of the day, they grow up and they're fine.
the worst part about being a public person is
Ooh, I think.
finding out about your boyfriend cheating on you.
Yeah, that honestly. I think going out with my friends and not being able to just be normal with them, because it's embarrassing to me. It's obviously not embarrassing that people come up to me to take photos.
Right.
I love it, but when I'm with my friends and they have to like stand there and wait for me to take photos, I'm like, this is the most embarrassing thing.
Do you have your friends take the picture of you and the fan?
Sometimes they give the fans give them, and I'm like,
and you're like, oh shit.
like I just would rather not.
Yeah.
Like
It'd be so nice to turn it off and on.
Yeah.
You know, like to be able to be like, okay, not right now, but it's on all the time.
yeah.
Okay. You already answered this, but when I found out I got cheated on, first reaction.
First reaction. I think my first reaction was like cry in that moment. But afterwards, I like brought all of his shit to his house and I like was like, goodbye.
Yeah, see ya.
Yeah. And I think my friends and my sister drove me and all of my friends were in the back seat. And I like walked into his house and dropped.
I would have killed to be in that car.
Oh, it was the best. We were listening to like the most FU music
Of
like on the
course.
way. Yeah, it was great.
I need that playlist. No, that sounds fucking
Yep.
iconic.
It was great.
Okay, when something bad happens, I call.
My sister.
When something good happens, I call.
My sister.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I know. We just keep coming back
I just
to them.
love her.
Okay, that's the end of our game.
That wasn't too bad.
Right? You only bit your tongue once.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, do you think you'll ever date anyone in the industry again?
No.
You're done. You're like,
Never.
give me an investment banker or a finance guy
Well, it's confusing though because it's like my ex-boyfriend wasn't in the industry,
Okay.
but then the boyfriend beforehand was. So I just think
men.
I think men.
Yeah, just fuck
I just think men.
I know.
And it sucks.
It
but
really
there's
does.
good ones out there.
No, we really do have to believe it.
Yeah.
What is something that you think people misunderstand about you?
I think that I'm mean.
Why do you think they think that?
I like go out with my friends and everyone looks at me like I am like the most intimidating person. But I am actually the opposite. I am the most like friendly. I go up to everyone and speak to everyone. And so I think that like hurts my feelings because I'm like, wait, just come talk to me and you'll change your mind.
No, sometimes when people are intimidated by you, they like will label you as something like
Yeah.
that so they don't feel as bad about it, like because they're intimidated by you. But I think also people must think that you just go out and are like Mickey Mouse and are ready like to like host a meet
Yeah.
and greet. And you're like, I'm actually just trying to like hang out with my
Yeah,
friends.
totally.
I get that. Okay, Kenzie, I'm obsessed with you. This was so fun.
I'm obsessed with you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get all the animals and just,
Yeah, let's buy a farm together.
okay, done.